And now film critic and podcaster Van Connor joins me now. Van Connor, thank you very much for joining me. He's on his way. If you just joined us, welcome on board, by the way. You may have heard the news. Kevin Spacey has been found not guilty on all counts. Jonathan Coe, the media lawyer, was saying whether or not Hollywood and the industry around it would accept Kevin Spacey back, even though he's been found not guilty. In your view, do you think that that is a likelihood that he'll be accepted again and be allowed to continue?
This could go either way. In this instance, I mean, in recent years, we've seen, for instance, Louis C.K. stage something of a comeback. In Louis C.K.'s case, it was, in face of allegations to which he freely admitted, having committed those acts. And yet he seems to have rebuilt his reputation. And not only that, won a Grammy for it. So given the heights of Spacey's fame, his reputation, his status prior to 2018, I would say there's a good chance he can stage a pretty successful comeback after this.
But sometimes when it comes to sort of sexual type allegations, those seem to stick a little more, even when you're found not guilty. Do you think then, because obviously he's going to have to make some money after everything that's gone on. He's obviously, in your view then, what would you be doing if you were Kevin Spacey as your first move now, having been found not guilty?
I mean, Spacey himself has already found an avenue. I mean, he has actually been working in the past couple of years. He took on a film as recently as last year called The Man Who Drew God, which was directed by and starred Franco Nero alongside Faye Dunaway. There was a lot of controversy around the project at the time because of Spacey's status at that moment. But he is still a draw overseas. He still has international clout with audiences. Even things as critically derided as Billionaire Boys Club, which is a film absolutely tanked by all of this back in 2018. I mean, that film dropped when all of this began in 2018. Even that still made some money overseas, even though it spectacularly bombed in the West.
What do you think with regard to social media as well? Because one of the things that was pointed out was this was more a trial of social media. You as a podcaster, you use social media, obviously, for your business. Do you think that perhaps the governments need to look at the way social media is being used and there should be any sort of kind of way of sort of mandating a proper sort of way of structuring it so that people cannot be tried by social media in this way?
Well, in a perfect world, that would absolutely be the case. But social media just is inherently a Pandora's box, particularly with the entertainment industry and also politics, as we see, and criminal activity. And this is obviously a confluence of all of those things. As far as Spacey himself goes with social media, he has attempted to steer the narrative in the past couple of years to be honest, what we've described as quite bizarre episodes in which he was producing like Christmas messages in character in the guise of the House of Cards Frank Underwood character, in which he sort of seemed to be performing a speech about his own innocence, but there was no context ever provided for it. It left everyone scratching their heads a little bit. So he seems to want to take control of the social media narrative himself, but he doesn't seem to be the wisest on how to go about it. As far as the actual governmental side of it, that's a level I couldn't even begin to speculate on. That goes way beyond my remit.
Yeah, it seems that they need to sort of get together and work something out because these businesses are global. They cross all over different countries with different legal rules and regulations, which make it very difficult. So in your view then, Kevin Spacey, do you think that this will actually be a real turning point for his career and actually he's going to make more out of this and do better as a result of it?
Whether or not he'll do better, that one could go either way. I think we've not seen the last of him. He's back, and he'll be back in a relatively short space of time. He will be back in starring roles. Kevin Spacey, prior to all this, was one of the most respected thespians of the last 3 decades. Like, hands down, easily. The man owned the 1990s. I mean, he tailed off a little bit as we went into the 21st century, but he owned the 1990s. He was an acclaimed Oscar-caliber actor. He's starred in everything from high-budget tentpole productions, playing things like Lex Luthor in Superman movies to acclaimed prestige dramas, starring in equal measure. He's starring alongside characters like Superman and fellow thesps like Judi Dench. And you look at the names and the stories and the talent that came out during the trial alone. And we talk about Richard and Jared Harris, talking about Elton John, Judi Dench. I mean, Elton John was called as a character witness. this man has a support base. He will be, he will continue. I actually think he will be bigger, to be honest. I think his friends will rally around him, and I think he will come back stronger.
I think you will as well. What's your favourite Kevin Spacey movie, or your favourite character that he played? I know what my one is, but what's yours?
I mean, the conventional answer is John Doe in Seven, obviously, but my personal favourite is as Chris Sabian in the forgotten F. Gary Gray 1998 hostage thriller, The Negotiator, which I absolutely love. He and Samuel L. Jackson work brilliantly off one another.
Yeah, he's a great, isn't he? Samuel L. Jackson, crikey. I love him as Lex Luthor in Superman Returns. That's got to be my favourite one. Kevin Spacey, a brilliant actor, has been cleared on all counts. Thank you very much. Good to talk to you. That is, of course, Van Connor. He is a film critic and a podcaster.